review of 11th of June. The DEX has been acting a little weird. It tries to develop the strength early move but somehow fails. Let's look at the review. Uh, this is DEX from yesterday, and it opened very strongly, and then there were some pause bars, and then we started trading down with good bear bars, and this was an outside bar. Generally outside bars mean a range. I wanted to be a seller around the top end of the outside bar, since you should see a sell off it is if it is about to go down very quickly. That is why I had a tight stop. I got stopped out of my trade, and that is when I flipped, added on retracement, retest, and I was hoping for a target of 24108, but it reversed. I added some positions, and when it went below even from my initial entry, each trade had a 40 point stop. The last add-on was stopped out because it was a 40 point, and then the market reversed. I added the last add-on on a prior bar low on the push higher, and when it reached the top end of the range, I exited. Now I had a higher target, but overall the DEX was lacking strength. That is why I exited. If generally the other idea is, if the market is showing weakness, it showed strength, but then no good follow through. Strength, pullback, no good follow through. So the idea is to short on this second attempt, and it generally works. And those who missed this second attempt could have surely shorted here, but this is always after the fact. Anyhow, I have been a little aggressive in the DEX, and you see it continuously happening in me doing, and the reason is I'm playing on my strengths. DEX generally acts how I want it to act, and I tend to trade right and understand its movement right. That is why I trade DEX a little aggressive than how I trade the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones. If you look at the Nasdaq, this was the CPI release, which was the news. It came all the way back down, and we opened here, and the market, while was struggling to go up, was equally struggling to go down as well. You saw a move down, but not a very good close. So there are buyers around this area, and This candle, if you pay attention, this was the opening bar, none of the candle closed below it, and this was the first candle that closed below any prior bar low. But then the subsequent candle closed above its high, failing to go down, and when it went above and tried to go down, it failed again, and when it came back, that is when I entered, exited on the top end of the range. I did not had very good profit targets in mind. I was being very careful because overall the indices were showing no good signs of strength, and the DAX was falling. Nasdaq didn't had good strength. Dow somehow showed strength, but still it was an ABCD move that I was hoping for, which eventually did happen, and I was being cautious, and then I did not trade it. This is the second day now where we've been saying that the market would make big swings and would be undecisive. You would see price going higher, down, high, and even though these are lower highs it is making, but there's no clear move. Let's look at a day prior. In the Nasdaq you would see opened undecisive, went higher, low. At another day before, let's look at Nasdaq. Now this was a clear move high, and then it went undecisive, so it was majorly the news, I would say. And today and tomorrow should be a good aftermath after CPI, and I'm hoping for really good moves. Let's see. And then this is Dow Jones. It was much more weaker than the Nasdaq in terms of how it reacted after the news. When it opened, it printed a bear bar, but you would see the market did not trade below it. It just went a tick below it and then came back. And when it printed 4 bull bars, closing almost at their highs, that is when I wanted to be a buyer, looking for an opportunity, added below a prior bar low, added on the top end of the range to exit around the top end of the area here. And when we printed a big bull bar, I exited on the follow through, and then I did not trade it. It sometimes feel like you're missing good moves, but if you see, this is the open, we showed strength, and A B C D, which is even much stronger. You would see the CD leg much more bigger than the AB leg. It shows strength. You would want another leg up, which is this, and then the market just crumbled. Instead it should have went in a range, and then you could have seen a continuation or a trend change, which is not happening lately. That is why I'm being a little cautious. I believe the news is over, the aftermath is done, and we are to say good moves starting today. Let's see how the week close. Overall the DAX is not having strength, even though it would temporarily show strength. By the way, DAX has been falling after yesterday's CPI release, and it's it has fallen quite 300 points, I would say. Let's see what happens today. I'm excited.